What's up gamers, welcome to the Matt Numerics channel, and today we're talking about conspiracies, but not just any conspiracies, conspiracies about history, aliens, and the origins of mankind, all 100% true, fact-checked by real Sumerian patriots. You don't believe me? Look at this picture. Just a normal man, right? Wrong. Zoom out. That's John Pork. Look at these Egyptian hieroglyphs. Zoom in. There he is again. Who's there with him? Stuart Little. Stuart Little was shot dead in Chicago. Coincidence? No. He was silenced. Silenced by who? The Birdman. But they don't want you to know about the Birdman because that unravels everything. It's all connected. It's all intertwined. It's starting to make sense now, isn't it? You're seeing it. You're seeing it. Your eyes are being opened. Now, I know what you're probably asking. If I want to learn about these conspiracy theories and unlock the secrets of the universe, how do I do that? Where do I go? Well, the answer is simple. The only place anyone goes to learn anything. Short form video content. And who better to start with than Billy Carson, an author, podcaster, alleged ancient history expert, and founder of Forbidden Knowledge, an organization that is dedicated to bringing you the knowledge that is forbidden. The knowledge that they don't want you to know. Who are they, you ask? Well, let's just say an ancient group of, I'm not gonna say what race, people who just so happen to control all of our institutions. Italians. Now, Billy believes in a lot of things that you might describe as a bit out there.
Because when you teleport, you die. I don't know if people know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of an issue.
Teleport. I mean, you're reborn again instantly in the other location, but it's a facsimile of you.
But the main thing Billy is trying to communicate to people is the truth about the Anunnaki, an ancient alien people who came down to Earth and shaped history and religion as we know it. They gave humans advanced technology. They built the pyramids. They were worshipped as gods. What we think of today as the gods of ancient Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, or even the Christian God were in fact all aliens. And one of the big reasons we know this is thanks to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth.
Oldest text we know of is around 40,000 years old. Talking about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, they're talking about something that happened 450,000 years ago. People from somewhere else, and I do mean people, not little green men with little antenna, they came to this planet and created a breakaway civilization. And why? My research tells me that there was a war. People became space refugees. They created an Atlantean civilization on Earth, and Earth was Atlantis, not just a ring city in the Atlantic Ocean. They were approximately 1 million years ahead of us, giving them an unbelievable array of different types of powers that to us were godlike. In the Bible, everywhere where you see the word God singular, that's a mistranslation by accident on purpose. The original term is gods with an S, and we're not talking anywhere in that Bible about the creator of the actual universe itself. Nowhere does it ever mention the real creator of the universe. That book is about flesh and blood people.
Listen, I understand that if you took a Bible right now and opened it to the first page, you might think it's talking about the creator of the universe, where it says that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But what you have to understand is that was a mistranslation by accident, on purpose. Obviously. And I don't know about you, but I tend to believe the 40,000-year-old emerald tablets that were found in a pyramid over the less than 4,000-year-old book that was found in the sand. And these tablets are a foundational part of Billy's beliefs. And as you can imagine, when you have someone like Billy out here spitting that forbidden knowledge, enlightening the masses, you will have haters who will try to undermine him and his evidence. And they will try to bring up things to discredit Billy, like the fact that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth were made up by a guy less than 100 years ago, that in the most literal definition of literally, the only evidence of these tablets ever existing is the word of this guy, Maurice Doreal, who admittedly does look like a very trustworthy fellow, essentially saying, "Trust me bro, I found these ancient emerald tablets in the Pyramid of Giza. Yes, I did translate them. No, you can't see them. Yes, you can join my cult that apparently still exists. Like, you can go to their website right now. It's still a real thing, apparently." Now, some might argue that the fact that one of the cornerstones of Billy's beliefs just so happens to be very obvious, undisputed fake history would seem to undermine literally everything else he says. I know for me personally, I'm starting to doubt if Jesus really was an alien.
So Jesus, good guy or bad guy?
I believe he was a good guy. I
Into
think
it.
some of his words were twisted in the New Testament.
Yeah.
He never said, I don't believe he would say anything about slavery. If you really look at the words of Jesus, what he's teaching,
Yeah.
it comes from Thoth the Atlantean. So either he is Thoth the Atlantean, or he was taught by Thoth the Atlantean, or he studied in the mystery schools to get that same knowledge.
Right.
Because I line up the verses in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. I line up the words side by side so you can see what Jesus is saying was already said thousands of years prior.
Right.
He's teaching the ancient mysteries, and he's trying to get mankind to enlighten himself through consciousness.
Now, when it comes to Jesus, Billy says a lot of things about him that are unorthodox, to say the least. And he's very confident in what he says, and why shouldn't he be? He's got evidence to back him up. He's a big fan of citing the apocryphal gospels as evidence, and that is basically a catch-all term for texts about the life of Jesus that aren't considered to be biblical canon. Famously, the apocryphal gospels are a big part of the story for the Da Vinci Code. Now, the reasons given for why they're not in the Bible is because they're essentially forgeries. The people who wrote them didn't actually have any connection to Jesus or 1st century Judea, so there's no reason to put them in the Bible. But as we all know, those are just lies made up by the Vatican, and what did I tell you? You can't trust those Italians. And Billy had a chance to defend himself when he was invited to do a podcast discussion with Wes Huff, who is both a Christian, a Canadian, and an ancient historian. The Canadian part isn't really that relevant, but you know. But this was going to be a slam dunk for Billy. I mean, what? Just because Wes is a Bible scholar and an ancient historian that specializes in ancient manuscripts and knows how to read the languages they were originally written in and has spent years studying this stuff, he's somehow going to be able to debunk Billy's claims? Yeah, right, dude. Billy has been on Joe Rogan and Flagrant. I think he knows what he's talking about.
I mean, as according to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James Version of the Bible. And the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible, which came much later.
Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written. It made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home. It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming that's the mountain that they're referencing there. But they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James Version being put out.
Sure. So when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus? Like the codex that comes... Okay. That's why I was trying to get some clarification, because Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library. So you can go and see it. It's on display. And the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. I have a facsimile, so I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean.
Gotcha.
And not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just a Greek, it's a 4th century Greek manuscript. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. When you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there, I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up, say Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. And that's in Codex Sinaiticus.
I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Okay, yeah, well, so that's good. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery.
Okay, so maybe being a formally trained historian does count for something when you're having a debate about ancient history. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Billy. I've been defending you, dude. I've been defending you. But I just can't do it anymore, okay? We're done. But don't worry, guys, don't worry. There are plenty of other very credible people in the ancient history conspiracy space.
The Emerald Tablets of Thoth are literally mind changing and mind blowing, just because you understand when this was written and the terminology being used is
when was it written?
Far too accurate for now.
Okay, so maybe Cat Williams isn't the best example for that.
There's another piece which it's hard to describe. Nobody knows what it is. When I first saw that in the Cairo Museum, I thought, how on earth did they do this? Why isn't this a big mystery?
That looks like a piece of an engine.
It looks like part of something else.
Yes.
We're finding a bit of something larger.
Wow, that looks like, to me, like some part of some kind of machine. That's the only thing that it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's better. I can get behind that. Ancient Egyptians would never make this weird propeller-looking thing. That's a well-established fact. Everyone knows this.
Now, this is a beautiful example of core drilling, and most likely ancient core drilling. See that? You can see the grooves where the drill was moving, the lines running this way, as the drill was, of course, plowing through that way.
Again, this is some very compelling evidence of fallen angel technology. Obviously, ancient Egyptians couldn't drill those holes without a battery-powered Makita drill. And who do we know had battery-powered Makita drills 4,000 years ago? Fallen angels. I mean, end of video. Case closed. Now, whenever you're looking at ancient conspiracies like these, you're gonna hear a lot about ancient Egypt and pre-colonial Central and South America. And can you really blame them? Because guess what? It's cool. Ancient Egypt is sick. If you find someone who doesn't think that, that's an alien. And there is genuinely so much about these ancient civilizations that we still don't know. And that's obviously very intriguing. But I do think these people tend to get a little bit carried away with what they consider to be unexplainable except for aliens.
And the beautifully carved portal, hewn, as I've said probably too many times, from the living rock. The craftsmanship is exceptional. Aside from the graffiti, beautiful 90-degree angles. And inside too, here too.
What? Dude, no. How did they do that? How did they do that? That's impossible. That's not possible. Humans can't make things with a 90-degree angle. How would humans make something with a 90-degree angle? That's impossible. Humans aren't capable of making things with 90-degree angle. That's extraterrestrial. That has to be extraterrestrial.
So here in the portal, I'm 6 feet tall and I can just fit inside. And this circular area, for me, is where my belly button or third chakra would be. But if you're somewhat smaller in stature, then that would probably be where your solar plexus or fourth chakra would be.
Alright, dude, come on. You're gonna have to try a bit harder than that. It's a little bit difficult for me to be impressed by a shallow hole in some rock when the camera I'm recording this on, the computer in front of me, and the phone in my pocket are all infinitely more impressive than a bit of rock being carved out. Because I don't know if you know this, but we as humans kind of figured out how to carve rock like a really long time ago. Like, we've gotten pretty good at it at this point. Like, it's not that mysterious, I'll be honest.
Here are the famous melted steps of Dendera. You can see they clearly look like they're not kind of just worn out. They're not just worn out by people walking up and down it. They literally look like they've had some kind of almost lava has poured down it, or the stone has softened and it's just dissolved. Was it some kind of sonic vibration? Was it some kind of technology that was going on here, or even radiation, which we know is linked with the Ark of the Covenant and possibly the Great Pyramid? Was it chemicals, part of the alchemical process of the kind of processions they were doing here?
See what I mean? Like, he's really reaching here. There definitely are unexplainable mysteries of the ancient world that is fun to speculate about. Like, how did they move 800-ton stones to be used in a Roman temple? I don't know. No one knows. Was it magic? Maybe. But stairs being worn down doesn't really seem like that much of a mystery, I will be honest.
fascinating figure from one of the Olmec sites. Sitting in the middle of it is this human figure who's holding this strange bag in his hand. Those identical bags are found in ancient Sumer in the hands of individuals who were considered to be civilization bringers, and they also show up on Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe. And in that case, at Göbekli Tepe, we know they're at least 11,600 years old. So I wonder if we're looking at a sort of badge of office of a group of civilizers who traveled around the world.
You see this type of reasoning a lot. People will point to various things that are similar of different ancient civilizations and try to argue that that means they were all influenced by the same ancient advanced race or aliens or whatever. And at first it might seem kind of convincing, like, bro, all these people just so happen to have pyramids, you think it's a coincidence? Bro, look at all these carvings, they all had Louis bags, things are starting to add up. But if you think about it, it's really not that surprising. Pyramids are a good shape to make your buildings if you don't want them to fall over. And handbags are just bags. I don't know. People wanted to carry things, I guess. And I've got a bit of a game theory as to where these conspiracies come from and why people believe them, and I'll get to that later, but first there's something else I want to talk about, and that's AI. Just like many aspects of the internet, ancient conspiracy videos have been taken over by AI. And that's really not that surprising, whether it's being used as B-roll for podcast clips, or whether it's videos that were written by ChatGPT being read by a text-to-speech bot with AI-generated visuals. AI slop is everywhere, and it's pretty bad.
The 3 Knights Templar that were possessed by demons from King Solomon's ancient temple in Jerusalem? Why would the CIA unclassify the information now? Why was it classified in the first place?
Okay, so if this is true, it would confirm that demonic entities are real and that there's a connection between demons and cryptids. Not to mention, the church used evil to fight evil.
Wait, what? What exactly do you mean?
Okay, so in 1296, during the height of the Middle Ages, Pope Boniface VIII faced what they called the unholy crisis. To combat the rise of monsters, demons, or even what many today would call cryptids, he assembled a covert task force unlike any the world had ever known. The deserters, derived from the Latin word for the forsaken, were this elite trio of knights and the church's darkest secret, almost like today's Black Ops Special Forces operators, without the dark powers, of course. Their mission was simple, survival uncertain, and their very existence was blasphemy.
You really can just say anything on the internet and there will be people who believe you. I mean, if you look at the comments on this video, there seem to be plenty of people who really just seem to take this at face value. Now, to be fair, they're probably all kids, but still. I will say though, the AI slop videos really do make me appreciate the old school videos of some guy next to some old stone wall, just on a schizo rant about aliens.
This wall, according to Jesus Camara, is the most perfectly built wall in the world. And they talk about if the Inca existed for 300 years, from 1200 to 500, why would their building style change from being this to that?
That is actually pretty insane, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe these guys are onto something with this whole alien business.
But not only that, is the fact that each one of these stones is a different shape and size, and they all interlock almost perfectly. We in the West would never approach construction this way. We would either have a saw that would cut uniform blocks to fit together, or we would have some kind of mold and pour concrete or something in to get uniform blocks for construction.
Yeah, because we're not retarded. Building a wall like that seems way too difficult for no reason. Even if aliens or fallen angels or whatever built this wall, I don't know if that changes much for me, to be honest. Because, you know, even if they did build it, they still would have had to somewhere go and find all these rocks that fit perfectly into each other like that. Or I guess they could have cut them to fit like that. But if you're gonna cut them, why cut them all into odd shapes? Just cut them straight. I don't get it. Dude, honestly, I don't care if aliens built that. That wall blows my mind. That is some insane craftsmanship. And that's why I think these conspiracies exist in the first place, because there are so many genuinely super impressive artifacts and ruins of the ancient world that we do find, and it can be mind-blowing. But I think we know more than we do. Because we're so reliant on modern technology, we fail to grasp how people could do anything without it. Because we would be useless without it. And I'm totally including myself here. When I see the level of craftsmanship that existed long before the Industrial Revolution, it can sometimes be difficult to grasp how the hell someone would have gone about making and building the things that they did without the modern technology we have today. And I think a lot of the things we have now, most people still have no idea how it's made, but we kind of have the cope where we can go, oh, well, I mean, they probably just used machines and computers. And then I'll come across a video of someone making intricate glass ornaments, for instance, and the way they're doing it is, I imagine, not that different from how people would have done it hundreds of years ago. And that's a reminder that even if we don't understand how something was done, doesn't mean it's impossible. Like, if you showed me the finished glass bag and asked me how it was made, I couldn't have told you. I would have had no idea. But thanks to the internet, I could see it being made. And now I know. But unfortunately, I can't watch a vertical 9x16 video of the pyramids being built, so we don't know how they were built. And the best we can do is speculate. And people have always been smart, or at least some of us. And just because we don't know how something was built, doesn't make aliens doing it more believable. And if you think aliens built the pyramids, I don't think this video convinced you otherwise, and it wasn't my intention to. I just wanted to make a funny video. I think truth is important, and we should try to believe true things, but I'm not the arbiter of truth, okay? If you're looking for someone who actually knows things, go subscribe to Wes Huff, I guess. If you're looking for someone who will make fun of people who don't know things, I'm your guy. Subscribe to me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.